much for your input tonight. Now, we're still in the country. South Africa's small and medium-sized enterprise sector, it's still struggling with a whole host of barriers to doing business. Despite several initiatives by the government, SMEs say there's still way too much red tape. Access to funding, of course, is another problem, which is limiting many of these businesses from gaining access to entirely new markets. So tonight, we visited the 9th annual Buy Local Summit underway in Johannesburg to speak to some of these SMEs.
The annual Buy Local Summit has helped to bring the spotlight onto local production. Every year, scores of small to medium-sized business owners gather for the event to showcase their products and network. While the campaign is slowly gaining traction, SMMEs say there are still challenges, especially for new entrants. Local manufacturers too find it hard to compete with cheaper imports.
Our pricing, access to markets, funding, so those are our biggest challenges when it comes to our business.
When you look at the South African economy right now, the one thing we're struggling with is that there's a lot of importers, and most especially in the lower sector of the market, which is really taking away jobs, job creation.
But there's been some success for more established businesses. Keeping true to proudly South African, the wine industry remains an export asset. South Africa now ranks 7th amongst the biggest wine-producing countries in the world.
So South African wines is a fruity flavor-driven wine. This makes our wine special in the world. And I think in years to come, we'll find that the agricultural industry and the country will just grow and burst by the beautiful wines we produce.
The Buy Local campaign has gained traction over the years, but it's also evolved. It's not only now about increasing manufacturing capacity and growing businesses, it's also become a campaign to encourage local entrepreneurs to innovate in order to address social issues on the ground.
Vuyo Mtembu is the co-founder of Virgin Creatives. His business uses innovative ways to create better access to water, and his market is growing in other African countries.
There is a serious demand, I think one really because of the focus areas that the water wheelbarrow is aiming at. We've done Botswana recently, we've just done Zimbabwe, about 2 weeks ago we're in Lesotho, Tanzania, Cameroon. We're in negotiations with a couple of people from Nigeria as well.
There are more plans to expand on programs aimed at supporting small businesses. The Treasury allocated $228 million for the Small Business and Innovation Fund to assist entrepreneurs and create jobs. A further $34 million has been set aside for incubation programs. The private sector is also coming on board. Sumitra Naidu, CGTN, Johannesburg, South Africa.